All right. This one's going to be a little bit different. I guess you can probably tell from the title. I just found out my daughter has been exposed. My sister in law has COVID, probably has COVID. So let's talk about what I do and what I don't know. It's really easy in situations like this to think the absolute worst, especially the less information you have, the more likely you are to think that, the worst possible thing is happening or the worst possible thing is going to happen. It's very easy to catastrophize these situations. So let's talk about what I do know. What I do know is that my sister in law is staying home from work today, sick with a fever and a headache. Okay, it's more than that though. So her workplace, she works in a little boutique hotel. And since we've reopened Florida, there's a lot more people coming through. And three people at her work are sick. One, I believe, has tested positive for COVID for sure. I don't know if the other two have or not. Now, this is one of the things to consider about all this, is that so much of this information is secondhand. I only know what I'm hearing. I'm not even secondhand. This is third, fourth hand information for me now. So I only know what I'm hearing through a long game of telephone. And if someone in that game of telephone has, stopped and kind of catastrophized and freaked out a lot, then, what I'm hearing may be far worse than what's actually going on. Keep that in mind as well, too, that the information you're getting may not be 100% accurate, and that in a situation like this, it's very easy to think, oh, it's the worst possible thing. So there's that. Now, my daughter and she lives with her aunt, my sister-in-law. They live together. They live in the same house, so it's very likely that she has been exposed to this. So I don't really know. I don't know if she's going to be sick with it or not. I do know that it's a fairly large apartment that they live in, with two separate bathrooms. My sister-in-law lives on one side, my daughter lives on the other, and hopefully far enough apart that it's not causing, huge problems. But that being the situation, I can only hope right now that she's going to be all right. So, we're doing what needs to be done to make certain that she stays safe, stays under quarantine, doing everything we can for her to, deliver whatever it may need to be. But as it stands right now, just, hoping for the best. And this is the thing. It's really easy to assume the worst and to freak out and to borrow worry and to start worrying long before you need to. There's, if it is going to be a problem, if problems really do occur, there'll be plenty of time to worry later on. So you don't need to be worrying now. Right now, keep that hope together. Having a strong attitude, having a strong heart, being positive are all things that are going to reduce the stress in the situation. The less stress going on in the situation, the more healthy it is for everyone. All right. So if you can, definitely try and keep from thinking about the worst scenarios. Remember the positive things, okay? Think about, like for example with my daughter, she has pretty much zero comorbidity factors. She's young, she's healthy, she's been taking her vitamin D. My sister-in-law has been taking her vitamin D. My sister-in-law has some of the comorbidity factors that do worry me a little bit, but not enough so that I think that she's going to going to require hospitalization. Now let's talk about that for a second here, because one of the things to remember is that it is something along the lines of, I think it's 80% of cases do not require hospitalization. You get sick enough to know that you have COVID, but not so sick that you have to go to the hospital. And that's one of those cases where all the people say, oh, it's like the fever. Well, in that case, yeah, all right, it is for those lucky people. So, remember that's the majority of people. So that's probably, even if it gets bad, probably what it's going to be. So, keep in mind that there's a lot of ways to think about it being the worst case scenario, but there's also a lot of ways to think about it being a very positive scenario. I mean, what could happen? Everything just might go right. I'm hoping it will. I'm really saying that I hope it will. I'm ready for it not to be. I'm preparing for it not to be. But, there's no reason to borrow that trouble. Keep that hope. And remember that, just because you don't know doesn't mean that it's the worst thing it could be. It could also be the best thing it could be. So, yeah. take care of each other. I think we're going to be okay. I think we'll all be okay through all of this.